Another week. Let's go. So I'm a little disappointed already because my stream this week is no longer flawless. Forgot to pick the thumbnail before starting the video, but I'll add it once the video started. Cause you gotta just keep on building, right? You just gotta put content out there and then worry about it later, worry about the views later, but provide value first. I think you can tell I've been listening to some I would I guess I'd just call them motivational speakers in this situation for this particular segment of speech reference, whatever that word is. Um yeah, looking at charts and what I expect to see from them next week, bro. And there are cows watching this. Oh, there's a new Superman movie. I did not know that. Yeah, things that happen when you're busy doing your own thing. And I am not trading this week, just by the way, disclaimer. I don't think I'm going to be taking a live trade this week. If I do, then you'll know about it, but it's unlikely that I will trade this week. Because I've got stuff to do offline, brother and sisters. But yeah, next week I'll have a stream for you guys and upload, well, where I take a trade on the Funding Pips account challenge that I've been on. Yeah, that's it. Then let's go to the charts right now. Which numbers do I still have? Who do I call from the past? Okay, I didn't want to sing the exact song that this dude was singing, but I guess we're on the same artist still, so. Let's keep it dogging. First, we're going to look at JP225, because that's the chart that's on the screen. And starting with the monthly chart, this month so far has looked to show bearish price action by retracing within, well, trading below the most recent sell side liquidity level that is on the charts, as it looks to be retracing into this order block over here. Weekly. See, we've come from this order block here, and now we've traded into or tested this fair value gap. Previous week closed above the fair. Let me zoom in. Previous week, you can see here it closed above the fair value gap. So, to me, is a bullish sign. So I can expect next week to run higher, while expand to the upside, or potentially reach in for this main threshold. So let's try and figure out which one is likely to happen first. Let's switch this off for now. So that's buy side, that's sell side. We ran sell side the first time, and then we retraced higher, failed to run through buy side, creating another high over here, and then another retest of this level before pushing lower, and then closing the day right before here, purging sell side for the second time. I would think that it's gonna purge sell side for the third time before pushing to the upside, so we definitely could see a retracement lower into somewhere here, like retracement into this midpoint of this fair value gap, and then push higher into essentially what I expect to see is this. Where's the closing price? The closing price would be here, so I expect to see something like this happen next week, somewhere here, something like this. If not, if we prove to be more bearish than we are bullish in the upcoming week, because failure swing here means that there could be a continuation lower. So what I would expect to see in that situation is price comes all the way down to here, retraces back up, and then starts pushing lower as we head into this level over here. Why this level over here? Because on the higher time frame, remember this is retracing into an old low, right? And also we failed to go through the high of the last 20 days. So what's also we're gonna do, we're likely gonna go through to the low of the last 20 days, 20, 40 days. Okay, so I've got this messed up. So here's 20 days. So this is not supposed to be here. 40. And then 60 is here. Okay, so yeah, this is not supposed to be here. And yeah, we failed to go through the high of the last 20 days. So good chance that we could have something like this even. You know, that is I think this is more likely. I mean, we probably might have even a bounce to here and then push back higher, or run this buy side and then push lower. I don't fucking know honestly how it's gonna go. I could give you guys like a bunch of scenarios, and then you guys will say I'm cherry picking whichever one's the best. But to be honest, I don't really know how far price is gonna go, what price levels they're gonna hit before the week starts. Nor do I know during the week, unless price is like obviously moving towards it or getting close to it, because I am not the market maker. And yeah, let's go on rant topic number 1 for today. Sometimes doing nothing is progress. And this comes after listening to a video by a certain Dagestani man who was comparing quality of life between somebody who's slaving away for like 300k a year versus somebody who makes 50k a year or 60k a year and gets to like hang out with family and chill on the weekends and go out and party and like look after your kids and do all that stuff. And yeah, look, each one has its pros and cons. With the 70k left of a year, you're probably not going to be owning supercars or like flying private jets all year round or like any of that Instagram influencer lifestyle. Versus when you are chasing that 300k, like there's a good chance you're not even gonna like spend as much time enjoying it as you do trying to get it. Whereas like you're gonna be in the office all day or like meetings all day or always traveling. So like everything that you do want to do is you're thinking about like, okay, when I get a time off, and then time off comes and it goes, and you're like, shit, now I have to go back to the grind again just to make sure I get another like moment or window of time off to enjoy the things that I'm working so hard for. And yeah, cool. That is one way that you can go about living life. But at the end of the day, you're all gonna have to rest at some point, you know? Like at some point, we're all gonna have to fucking rest. You try going 3 days without sleeping and then see how the world feels or like your perception of reality becomes. And then you start realizing that, okay, maybe sleep isn't really worth sacrificing for me to have all the uh, so-called wonderful and exotic and what do we say? What's another word I can use here? Exclusive, novel things, right? In this world. Why? Because that's just how life is, dog. Like, nothing's ever fucking 100%. So, yeah, that's QJP225. So go back up to to monthly chart. And then let's check the next pair, which is Nasdaq. I haven't traded this in a while. Still haven't traded it. Still didn't trade it this week because just didn't feel like it. Guess what we have here? Break of structure. We've had bullish movement above the all-time high, but it looks like it's consolidating. May see a retracement into this area if a gap forms, and then potentially continuation higher. But let's go to the weekly chart and see what that says. Weekly chart says last week we continued higher above the all-time high. It looked like we're progressing slowly towards something somewhere over here, right? Which is still above this fair value gap. So after making a new high, we just kind of consolidated within the range, but still closed above the previous candle's high. So that is, I mean, we closed above the previous candle's high, but still could be a sign of bullishness. Though I do expect next week to be bearish, and well, maybe push above here and then close below here. But I do expect next week to be bearish so that we can complete the swing high and then retrace into here before pushing higher into somewhere there. See if the daily charts agree. So all-time high buy-side liquidity now moves to from there to over here. Extends beyond next week. Alright. Their buy-side liquidity is swept and then price starts trading lower, but it hasn't made an engulfing with a fair value gap. Instead, it respected this overlap of a fair value gap and order block. Though I would say fair value gap is invalid because we had a close below its midpoint over there. So I'd leave this on the chart. Remember, this is the imbalance, and we have another imbalance over here on the daily. Can move this forward actually. So here we go. Seems to be holding. Tried the first time, second time we did run through it, but stopped in this order block here. So possibly a third time close below and then sweep this level of liquidity because it's just now the nearest sell side liquidity to price action, and this is being the buy side. So if it's buy side, we could continue heading lower for sell side. Let's see if, okay, I haven't updated this, that's why. But wow, that actually would have been awesome. Consolidation, expansion, reversal, retracement, expansion. Anyway, so what do I see here? I see likely this is what's gonna happen. Why? Because we hit this level over here. Tried the first time, tried the second time. Well, we just might come down for some liquidity, right? And then push to the upside, essentially. Why? Because it's a bull market. Always wanted to say that on stream. So, point number 2 of contention this week. There was this girl I saw. She made a YouTube short where she was talking about Chat GPT. Like, she was talking about people using Chat GPT for therapy, and then it could potentially use um, the information that's being fed to that chat as a model, not as a model, to train their model, and then that model could eventually use it as a framework for somebody asking for a story that will sound eerily similar to what you're going on with in real life. Basically, she said that they're taking your info and that you should be careful of what you're putting into GPT if you want to use it as a therapist, because it could show up on somebody else's chat as an anonymized framework for an idea of a book, she said. And at first, I was kind of freaked out about it. I was like, yeah, we knew we couldn't trust the AI. And then I stopped and thought about it for like a few minutes, and I was like, but Facebook and Google and Amazon and all these other companies, Apple, they all do that. They take our data and sell it to marketers, and then marketers bring ads in your feeds, and you're like, I did not know that I needed a Coca-Cola mug. I was just talking about it the other day, and wow, AliExpress was this random drop shipper from fucking Southeast Asia is selling me a Coca-Cola mug. So, yeah, dude, that's just how this shit works, unfortunately, or fortunately. And it's no different to talking to a therapist who then has a chat with her friends without mentioning her client's name but explains their situation. Like, the only difference is that instead of telling it to people, now we're going to be telling it to the fucking bot, which could potentially spread it all over the internet, versus telling it to one person who could potentially spread it to like 3 or 5 people, maybe 10. Who the fuck knows? But yeah, I just realized like it's more or less the same thing. Just have to be ethical about it, because rules of engagement for everything. One, two is it's like most of the tech that we use in present era is based on the human body, or is designed to mimic some form of the human function, like robotic arms or like smart sensors or like whatever it is. It's designed based on the human form. So of course our fucking AI is gonna be designed based on human form, and will it eventually be uh, a benefit to people or a liability? It's gonna be both. There's no good without the bad. There's no bad without the good. So next chart, Euro USD. Actually, no, let me. I want to do this. 1 month, and then go Euro USD. And what do we have here? Broke monthly buy side liquidity. Current month has made a new high, and then looks to be retracing slightly after trading into a OTE extension slash order block or breaker block. I don't know, man. I don't use those things. Um, yeah, so we traded into above the previous month's high and are retracing slowly. We might come back to this level of buy side. That was former level of buy side, likely to form a fair value gap, which will get traded into and pushed higher for the rest of the year. Weekly chart. Ooh, so that it held. So what do we have? We have this nearby imbalance, which price closed below, so is invalid. And we have this imbalance over here, which price jumped and opened above, but could not get above this high over here, instead forming a swing high that retraced into this fair value gap over here. We could retrace lower into the fair value gap again before pushing higher. I said this level is one to look for because there's a high and there's another high that are overlapping with the fair value gap over here. Strong break of structure. So what happens next? Retracement to the order block and then expansion higher. So this might be the nearest buy order block since it is a swing high that has an overlapping fair value gap, which I'll mark with these. So yeah, set that for weekly. And we go to the daily chart. So we had buy side over buy side stacking on top of each other, which means I haven't traded this in a while, so let's turn this off for now. I've been buy side stacking buy side, but we took out sell side and then we took out sell side again, and then this time sell side's held. So let's expand that or visualize that or diagrammatically show that. Got two of them there. I just remembered that I think he's Persian, but Arab kid who asked me if I have a wife, and I was like, no, and he was like, damn bro, I've got two. Mind you, this kid's like 5 or some shit. Maybe 7. Probably like 4 or 5, but he's like, yeah dude, I've got two, like what are you doing with your life? And he's like he couldn't believe me. He was like, are you sure you don't have any? Like I've got two, dog. Like I'm not even, you know, like it's okay, you can tell me. And I was like, dude, I've got 0. And he's just like, oh my god. What goes on here? But what happens here is this imbalance was closed below this fair value gap, yeah, and then closed through below the imbalance, down here, and now we have an imbalance over here. Prices respected this level by closing above. I've been saying a lot of words. Prices closed above this fair value gap here. Tested it the first time, tested it the second time. Both times we saw pushback to close above even this level of sell side liquidity. So at this point we might see price come back higher and take out this nearby level of buy side liquidity before continuing any lower. This upcoming week, this is our range. We're still within the range. This day didn't take out buy side or sell side. So this is the main range until we like form another swing higher, like close above this high. What do I see here? potentially we could see this. But since sell side's being taken continuously, like, yeah, we're definitely gonna keep going lower into here at least, and then here is where things might go different, where either we get a reaction somewhere here, and then price continues lower, going into the next week. But essentially, I'm waiting to see his price get to this level somewhere here. Okay. Then point number 3 of contention for the week. Positioning is key. Preparation is paramount. So, as somebody who plays sport or practices sport on a regular basis, or not frequent, this is me speaking to specifically the younger people, those under 24 and under. Warm-up is essential. Warm-up is very important. Preparation is paramount. And doing this practice puts you in the right position to take advantage of situations that come before you. So let's break that down. Right now, you might be 17, 18 years old. I remember when I was like that age, even up to 19, 20. Like, I could go out on a Friday night and then show up to training on Saturday morning, like, still slightly hammered, but I could get through a session. Now that's not so much the case. Like, unless I reduce the amount of, like, this is what I mean when I say this. It's like, you could go on an absolute bender on the fucking weekend, right? Where you're hitting 2-3 locations with your boys, and then the next morning I'd get home and straight into like work, or no, straight into football training, right? But no, that's not true, dog. Like, if I drink like that, I'm not playing football the next day. Like, it is very unlikely I'm gonna play football in the morning on the next day if I drink like that. Why am I saying this? So that you can remember warm up is important. It may not feel like it right now at 20, 21, 19, but you'll come back and talk to me. You come back and talk to me when you're 24 or 25 and tell me that warm up isn't important. So what does warm up and all those things do? It puts you in a position for you to be able to take advantage of situations when they arise. It prepares you to notice and take advantage of opportunities that present themselves in front of you. That is the importance of warm up. And the importance of positioning is, yeah, the right place, right time. How many times have we heard a cliche like that? For me, Jamie Vardy, right place, right time. Like, almost all his goals in the Prem, right place, right time. Like, whether it's a first time finish or he's been played through, or the ball's like bouncing around in the block. Like, he's just in the right place in the right time. Fox in the box, they call it. Yeah. So, or as a defender, even as a goalkeeper, like the Gea's majority of the Gea's saves was because it was in the right place at the right time. Majority of defender blocks in its right place, right time. Midfielders passing, receiving a pass is right place, right time. So the position is so important. You need to maintain your position. You need to know when to move at what point in the phase you're supposed to move. At what point in the phase you're supposed to stay still or just like watch or like something like that. Position so important, especially when coaches tinker things. Like, you need to know where he wants you to be at a certain point in time. Like, goalkeepers going up for corners in the last minute, that is positioning. You're putting yourself in a position where you could score. And then that dude did the wavy dance, and yeah. Anyway, I ramble. Let's go to the next chart, which is wait, before we get there. Ooh. Why is it not pressing? Why is it not? Okay, it clicked too many. Can I? Okay. GOLD, tell me what do you see? GOLD, tell me what do you see? I see lines on the chart, bro. It's nothing too crazy. Boxes, maybe. Candles, they call them. The merchants. Why am I doing this? For consistency. So gold seems to not be making a new all-time high anymore. Buyers have finally... Oh wait, I can't do that because this month hasn't closed. But so far, what do we have is consolidation between here and this candle here. So this is a long-term or a very sensitive level of sell-side liquidity because the current range is low. Go to the weekly charts. I don't even think this line's showing, so let's give it a different color. I think I put that one. Yeah. Is that the right color? Okay, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I chose 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to turn it into one below. Let's go to the weekly chart now. So that's here. That's this level of weekly sell-side liquidity, which we're going to project into long-term future. And then these levels can just chill like under here. And this is what recent price action that we're talking about. See what I mean by prices in a consolidation range? We didn't go above either of these order blocks. In fact, we formed the swing low at the midpoint of this block over here, which is an order block because we had a sweep of liquidity, but we didn't have a fair value gap, so it's not really an order block. The order block that's not an order block. I don't know what to call that. But here we had a sweep of liquidity. There is no fair value gap over here. So what do I expect? Well, maybe more consolidation within these two levels here, because we did trade above the high of previous week but failed to close above it, which means that potentially it's not very strong bullish momentum, but also not very strong bearish momentum because we failed to close above. The midpoint of this block. So let's go down to the daily charts and okay, zoom in here. So we closed below this fair value gap and then around this level of buy side over here, like both of these two levels of buy side here. This one closed above also, which means it's invalid. Closed above. Well, this one we swept, so I'm expecting to see next week come down into at least here, because it seems to be holding. Price seems to be holding, pushing for higher prices. I have a tiny little imbalance over here if we want to consider that. To trade it into. And then we have God damn it, it's the wrong bucket. Yeah. So now that's looking a lot more bullish than it is bearish, isn't it? where are we heading? Potentially this level of buy side. I'm gonna delete this because it's just like redundant. Redundant. Fail to go below this low, went above this high, so we could expect a retracement into here even, and then continuation to the upside. So yeah, definitely looking for price to come back into, see how price reacts here and here, probably form a fair value gap here, and then retrace and then push higher. This is what I mean. Let me just draw it out. So Monday, Tuesday, probably pushing it here. Wednesday, might have something there. Retrace and then close somewhere there on Friday. This is what I see happening. Probably should have taken, no, I still can. I'll take screenshots of all of them. If I can clip this voice note, this is a voice note, and upload it to, I don't know, Discord or Telegram. Both, maybe. Telegram, Discord. I don't know. Listen, you guys, I need advice. Like, I would really like your help in figuring out which way to deliver these trade ideas. Because Discord, yeah, you're gonna be able to join me for live streams during the week and hear me like talk and stuff, and then you can ask questions and all that. And on Telegram, it'll just be trade breakdowns that you can learn from. Basically, the trade ideas that I have, the levels that I've marked up like this, just in a either shorter video format or like a chart in a voice note. Because I'm sure as hell not gonna be editing all this stuff like twice or three times. But I don't know. Just drop me a comment, please, and then let me know so that I can do that for you guys. Plus, it tells me that you're paying attention and what I'm doing is worthwhile. So, comments, likes, all that jazz. Hit me with it. Lastly, points of contention number 4. How does, or what is the right way to respond to becoming the champion when you're the underdog? Or like, how do you defend a title, or how do you defend a lead? The reason I ask is because so many people start out the underdog, and they have the underdog story. They what the guy who beat everything against all odds, who turned everything around and managed to make something of themselves. Like, everybody loves a good underdog story, but what happens to the underdog once they become the top dog? Can they maintain it? If you look at Champions League history, since the current format was incepted, I guess, adopted, one of the two, Real Madrid is the only team to have won back-to-back Champions League trophies. And that was the three-peat under Zidane. That was just a very special moment in time for football. The absolute dominance over European football that they had was incredible. And if you look at that period in time, over a period of 5 years, Spanish teams just won the Champions League flat out, like year after year after year. That Barcelona 2015 treble, to me, also was quite insane. Why? Because they beat the champions of every single country on their way to winning that title. It was the champions of England, the champions of France, the champions of Germany, and the champions of Italy in the knockout stages en route to lifting the trophy. That was, for me, it was incredible. Very, very incredible feat. Taking nothing away from them. So yeah, you definitely could have the world inside your hand and drop it. Back-to-back Champions League winners is such a rare thing. Back-to-back Premier League winners is such a rare thing, which is why the likes of Mr. Special One, Sir Alex Ferguson, and Pep are highly revered because they okay, Mourinho proved himself as a serial winner. Mr. Pep has built a juggernaut of a team. He had on his way to like winning 4 in a row, and Sir Alex Ferguson built a dynasty. Okay, like this guy won 3 in a row like 2 or 3 times. That is insane. And then you have, even in the world of basketball, how many teams have won the championship back to back? How many teams have won the Stanley Cup back to back? How many drivers have won the NASCAR back to back? It's why we absolutely admire people like Lewis Hamilton, who, you know, were, um, yeah, just situations like that. Or how many business people do you know that produce, like $100 million business back to back? Not many. It is not many at all. So you could have the world in your hand, it still might drop it. I ask how to maintain and evolve into that position. And then, lastly, I was listening to a podcast the other day. Not even the other day, it was today morning when I finished it, but it was about trading. And what he asked was, I mean, there were things he was saying, it's like, essentially, bottom line is, are you profitable? Like, how you have to design your mind to be able to achieve what you want from trading is entirely up to you and uniquely up to you. Because you can copy somebody else's strategy, whatever, risk management, and still have very different results because it's designed for them, not for you. So, what I did want to mention also, is there are 2 to 3% of profitable traders globally, okay? And getting there and staying there is a completely different ask. It is not the same task. You could make $100,000 today and lose $30,000 tomorrow. You could be profitable for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and have one trade that completely wipes everything out. This is why, like, trading is such, like, you can put systems in place. Of course, the whole idea behind this is to have systems in place so that that doesn't happen. So, for example, with my account, I'm down to what, 31 cents, 32 cents. I'm not gonna trade gold. I'm not gonna trade Euro USD. I probably don't even have the margin to trade those two pairs. But what can be done is switching to a different pair that is less volatile, or potentially the same volatility, but just has much lower liquidity, hence the much lower margin to enter positions. It's part of risk management. That's part of making sure that you don't completely blow up or wipe out your account, so that you still have a chance at trading, you know? Like, you're not gonna be invited for the Ballon d'Or shortlist every year. I mean, you might be for a while, and then at some point, you don't make the top 3, you don't make the top 5, you don't make the top 10, and then you're not on it at all. That's okay. It's called evolution. It's called life goes on. Don't get caught up in the moment. Shout out to Andy Carroll though for buying Dagenham and Redwood. It would be incredible to see what and how that develops over the next couple of years, because I think he has a fairly long contract. And yeah, I guess that's the stream for this week. Let's see how I did on time. 46 minutes, not too bad with a whole lot of yapping in between.